We are live, episode 64 of the RINO podcast. We just did a Patreon episode of Nuts and Bolts campaigning that you should go to patreon.com/RhinoPod, pay $1 a month, learn something, educate yourself, get somebody elected, win. Don't just be on Twitter and it's tapping on your phone. Actually do something with your life, you losers. Get out there and help win an election. Write a check. Yes, get off your ass.
I mean, even guys, the thing is like, even if you're on Twitter and you, or whatever, like put your, I guess your money where your mouth, like, what's that one? Put your
money where your mouth is.
Where you put your money where your mouth is, and you need to put either your time. Yeah, you need to put either your time or your money into a candidate. And I know that a lot of Republicans are like, I don't like giving money to candidates. Well, it's either give your money or your time. Yep. And so I do a lot of the time I do money, and sometimes I do my time. Yes. For local candidates, I do my time. For federal candidates, I usually give my money.
Yes.
So,
this is key. And go to patreon.com/RhinoPod and sign up to find out what you can actually do with your time to help a certain candidate and candidates in 2022. And we can get the ball rolling we can, cross the finish line for 2022 and get the ball rolling for 2024. All right, Kaitlin, how was your weekend?
I was in Vermont. So I went to Vermont this weekend, Bernie land. I love Vermont. I think it's so pretty. The only problem is that when I go to Vermont, it's like Bernie merch, and then like they're in some places super hardcore progressive. And it's like kind of funny though, because it's like almost a parody.
It is. They're funny. They're funny people. Good golf up there. Vermont is beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Even in the sun, so like it's gorgeous in the winter when you like the snow just falls and like you're like going up to ski. Like I love going up there, and then it's also gorgeous in the summer because it's just so green.
Yeah, it is. Wait, what's the Green Mountain State? Is that Vermont?
That's Vermont.
There you go. It's the Green Mountain State. A little plug for our neighbors to the north. I went to the Kirk Minahan show live at the Wilbur Theater, and boy, it was a lot of fun. Actually, I enjoyed it. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter or if you know who he is, but he has a podcast with Barstool Sports and used to be the #1 radio guy in Boston. And it's funny. He puts on a funny show. He makes me laugh. So on my rides in and home from work, I listened to his podcast, and I got tickets to the live show, and it was a good time. And it was fun to just kind of hang out and just relax. And I hadn't been in like that kind of. It was just wild. Like there was like a band going, and he was like running up into this balcony area and jumped up on the edge of the thing, and I got real nervous because I was like, I don't that stuff bothers me, because it's like you could be you could be like, I'm not going to do anything up here, I'm not going to jump off, but like you could totally slip. Totally slip. That kind of shit makes me nervous. I don't like it when people do that, because it's it's just like, yeah, okay, you could be goofing off or just having fun, but like you go a little too far over, you tip. Oof. And do you know who Amy Poehler is?
Yeah, from Parks and Rec.
From Parks and Rec.
Saturday Night Live. She was on Saturday Night Live too.
Yeah, so she has a brother, Greg Poehler. She grew up around here. She grew up in Bedford.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
Was it Burlington or Bedford? Yeah, right near here. And her brother is like an actor, producer type, and is a fan of the Kirk Minahans and knows Kirk as well. And I heard him on an episode recently. So he was at this show. And it was funny. I got tickets to like the VIP meet and greet beforehand. So I go, okay. So I was checking it out. It was fun. It was cool. But there's Greg Poehler, and I'm watching him, and he's at the bar, and he's like lining up a shot of whiskey, and like nobody else is like doing shots. And he's like, come on. He's like looking around and like looking for people to do shots with him. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, you're not going to get lit up for this show. But he did that, and he was like peacocking around. Do you know what peacocking is?
Like spreading your feathers out?
Well, no, not literally. It's not.
Like,
but essentially, when a peacock spreads their feathers out, they're doing it to like attract attention, right?
yeah.
So he was like the whole beginning before the show, he was like kind of like walking around, like you sort of like, it was funny, like looking to be noticed. It was just kind of funny. It's funny. I was watching him like I'm just taking it all in. And he's a funny guy. He seems like a nice guy. He kind of looks like Robert Downey Jr. a little bit, but like not as good looking. And it was just funny to watch, like, D-level celebrity who's at the show kind of like strut their stuff, like walking around looking to be noticed. But all in all, I give 2 thumbs up for the Kirk Minahan live show. It was a good time. If you were there, I hope you enjoyed it as well. So that was my weekend. Woke up and was tired as hell on Sunday morning and did nothing all day. All right.
Yeah, we went up to Vermont and we went and we did tubing and drank beer on the tube, and then I got scared because a beaver came out of the water. I was not expecting this beaver to come up. And
but a beaver wouldn't bother you though.
I mean, I was still afraid of the beaver because I didn't know what it was, and then all of a sudden it comes up and its tail just like out of the water.
That's cute though.
I mean, yeah, and then we saw where they were at, so like that was really adorable. But yeah,
come on, beavers are cool. They got the teeth like this, right?
And they got their tail,
yeah,
smack in the water.
Cool. That sounds like fun. I'd love to see a beaver, but while I was tubing with a beer in my hand. All right. How much did it cost you to go tubing?
Well, driving up there was basically the cost of the gas.
Yeah.
And I got a new car. So I actually ended up getting a new car. It's a Honda CR-V, guys.
That's a great car. It's a good car. And it's a 4-cylinder, so it's pretty good on gas, which is nice.
Yeah. Not bad.
One thing,
smooth.
I have a gas guzzling V8, and I love it. But I don't love it so much now because it is eating up a ton of extra cash.
Well, have you noticed that like the Dems keep on like talking about like how gas has gone down like 40 cents, and I'm like, no one's feeling this relief. I don't know what you're talking
when
about.
Gas goes up by $2.50, word of advice: don't jump the gun and start bragging about a 30 to 40 cent decrease and go, look, isn't it that gas is coming down? It's still incredibly high. It's still double what we were paying a year and a half, 2 years ago. You people, look, they're not the brightest bulbs, Kaitlin. This is the thing. They think it drops 30, 40 cents, and they're like they're patting themselves on the back. This is why it dropped 40 cents, and maybe it'll go down a little bit more, but not much more. The Saudis agreed. Remember, we talked about this about 3 or 4 weeks ago in the episode. The Saudis agreed to start pumping more gas. That's it. That's what you're seeing now.
But then you're probably gonna see it go up again after Labor Day because you're preparing for winter. I mean, like Jeff, like when I see people online being like, you better thank Biden for that decrease in gas costs, and I'm like, I'm still paying $4.60 for a gallon of gas. What are you talking about?
So like, if I'm giving Biden credit for that, can I blame him for, if it goes down by 10%, can I blame him for the 100% increase? But I know I'm not allowed to do that. I can only thank him for the 10% decrease.
Right. Yeah, guys, like 30 cents down from $5. Like it's still at least $2 over where we want it. Like, what are you talking about?
The number one issue on everybody's mind that's normal is inflation. And I heard about this there was a poll a few weeks ago. It's been mentioned on the commentary podcast, but J-Pod likes to
They talk about it a lot.
but it's interesting.
Ruthless talks about it a lot. Like I think that again, the normal people that like I talk to on a daily basis, their big thing is inflation right now.
Well, if you ask anybody without providing a choice of answers, what is your number one issue? A full third of people across the spectrum say inflation. Like they didn't, they didn't ask them like, war in Ukraine, crime, this or they didn't say like they didn't just what is your just blank. What is your number one issue? Inflation.
Yeah. I mean those CPI numbers that came out, Jeff, 9.1.
I had to deal with it last week. We were talking about it in business meetings. It is super real. We have to go increase prices. We have to go to partners, to customers, and start to talk to them about this and be like, I'm sorry, folks, we have to raise prices. There's nothing we can do. And I'm going to have to,
yeah. We're not seeing, like, that's the thing, like, guys, I don't see a decrease in prices anytime soon. I feel like anytime they go up, they stay up. So, I don't know what to,
It's bad. It's super bad. We are in for a rough go of it.
Yeah.
In order for inflation to come down, we're going to have to raise interest rates by a dramatic amount, to the point that I don't know if there's the will to do it, but it actually does need to happen. We have to suck this money out of the economy. The only way to do that is raise interest rates. When you raise interest rates, there's less capital flowing around. It contracts the economy. We're probably already in a recession, just not listed as one. Layoffs are coming. People are downsizing. It's happening. It's a lot of pain. And the worst part about it is even if you were to raise interest rates to the appropriate amount to suck all that money back in, we're still spending like crazy. So our debt is going to continue, and we're going to accrue that debt at a higher rate.
And the Biden administration, I do have to say this as a side, the Biden administration is bragging about not spending right now, FYI, which is one of the most fucking hilarious things on the face of the earth, because they're not spending because their policies are not passing. So keep going.
But even if we get to the midterms and destroy them in the midterms, we're not going to be able to get any legislation passed that cuts spending, because Biden will be in office and will reject it. There won't be any executive policies put forward that increase the amount of energy out there and putting less pressure on that. It may start to get better, but it'll probably be stagflation for another couple of years till you can get Biden out. Or anybody out. Doesn't even matter at this point. It's going to be a Democrat for the next 2 years. Whether it's Kamala or Biden, it doesn't matter. They're going to do the same thing. So we're kind of fucked for a while. I'm very pessimistic. So there's not a lot of good news. And speaking of bad news, Joe Biden was in the Middle East, kneeling, wearing a mask, and fist bumping.
He had a kind of a huge trip that he just took, and so if you have not been following the Democrats for the last few years, because of the journalist that was murdered by essentially the ruling prince of Saudi Arabia, MBS, put out a kind of hit squad on, put out a hit squad on a journalist from the Washington Post that was very critical of him. I forgot how to pronounce his name. It's Khashoggi.
I think that's right. Let me check it out.
I completely, that was, I don't want to, So anyway, that murder happened. Democrats,
Jamal Khashoggi.
Jamal Khashoggi. Sorry,
Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
Yeah, bin Salman. Bin Salman, I do have to say, has been progressively, and this is very slow progressive because it is Saudi Arabia, has slightly been liberalizing the country a little bit. It seems like it's very slow to us. It was actually probably light years for them. Like women can now drive there.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
And go like that. So like,
I mean, what's he doing there? He should have kept that one in place.
Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, big mistake. Anyway, so the Democrats have been like pretty antagonistic towards the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And here's my big thing on this. Saudi Arabia has a lot of control over a lot of oil. And that is a resource that unfortunately we have not moved past resource allocation in our foreign policy. We do not need to be pushing Saudi Arabia to China and Russia. And so you don't need to be openly antagonistic towards a very powerful country with a lot of resources that we need. And so, like what?
No, I was just going to say it's very interesting over the past few years, especially with what Trump did, about how the Sunni Shia split has created this alignment where Saudi Arabia has become more favorable or friendly towards Israel, and stable, right? And so like it is now a solid ally, Saudi Arabia, whereas decades before it was just a sometime adversary that was how the leadership changes in the new royal family there, or the new members of the royal family who'd taken power, have sort of set this up where it's like what's the
we're light years. Let's just say we're light years from 9/11.
Right.
And so they've been openly friendly towards us, very business friendly. And so the Democrats, because of the event of where I try not to openly criticize this journalist, but the journalist in question, not saying that he ever deserved it, he absolutely didn't. I think a lot of it is that we as Americans don't understand their culture, and so
we don't have any concept.
We don't
what they
have
live
any
like.
concept, right?
Oh,
and
oh no!
Like we yeah.
There's no rights. There's no rights in that part. There's none of that.
Yeah, essentially yes. And so again, I'm one of those people that's like, we need to keep Saudi Arabia in our back pocket. It's better to have them as in our back pocket than in China and Russia's. So Biden went over there, met with MBS, and they antagonized over whether or not he should shake his hand. Did you see that one?
Was it a COVID thing?
No, it was like how it would be taken.
Perception. Well, this is all. I mean, if he shook his hand, I would not have had a problem with that. You can shake somebody's hand and go, okay, we're here to meet about serious shit, and then.
Well, that's kind of how you're supposed to do it, right? Like that's. I think the fist bump was worse.
Oh no, that's worse. It's either don't shake his hand or shake his hand. Yeah. I mean, a fist bump is like a casual, friendly sign of a greeting. I mean, which is fine. It's socially acceptable now. It's the equivalent of a handshake, or a more friendly term, but it's not formal and shouldn't be for world leaders. That's just stupid.
It looked so absurd.
I think that was the worst of all options. If he had not shaken his hand, I would have been like, okay. Or if he had, I would have been like, all right, if conservatives or the right would have attacked him for shaking his hand, I would have been like, all right, man, let's stop here. Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il? Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-il, even in that time when Donald Trump met with him, was not trying to fire rockets off and all other stuff. At least he was contained, even though it was not, perceptionally wise, not great seeing us I guess, normalize Kim Jong-un.
Right. So my daughter I'm doing a podcast. What are you doing? I'll say goodnight to you later. All right. We're live on the air. All right. So is he still there? Is he coming back? When's he come back?
Who?
Biden.
Oh, I think he's back.
He's back. Okay. Look, it will never cease to amaze me how stupid Democrats and their policy, and especially this administration, is. How they're so bad at. They go over there, they talk to the Saudis, they ask them to pump more oil. Whether they did that a month ago and were successful, and even if they went there, can you pump even more? And then you have asinine green energy policies and restrictions here. If you really believed what you were saying, you wouldn't ask Saudis to pump more oil. More oil's more oil. It all goes up. If you really believe in climate change, what are you? It's just asinine.
I mean, the ultimate thing is that we should be drilling and producing our own
yes
natural gas, because we produce probably some of the most refined and cleanest in the world, and so it does not emit as much carbon. But like that, you know, and I think that getting it from Saudi, the OPEC, and all of that is fine. But we can pump our own. And
well, we were energy independent in the Trump administration. We were energy independent, a net energy exporter.
And that's one of the things I think, you know, like Dems don't really understand. Like Biden's voice when he goes on the campaign trail and wins an election saying that he's going to reduce our carbon footprint as a country, or in carbon emissions and all of this, you're going to move markets. And so that's going to affect the oil industry and gas industry and energy sector. And so why are you surprised now when energy costs are going up and you're not doing as many leases as you need? And
I don't think they are surprised. I think this is genuinely part of their plan. Well,
they're stupid because we're not ready for that transition at all.
And it's going to be a rude day. These people just don't know how to run the country. They don't know how to run state government. They don't know how to run city governments. I don't get voters. Like, you're not hiring somebody to fulfill you spiritually. Like, you need them to make the right laws and to enforce the laws that you make.
No, they want that. They want that. I mean, the Dems want that, Jeff.
Yeah, they spiritual fulfillment. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's the worst person in the world, like Hillary Clinton, they need it like it's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're secularists for sure.
I mean, she's the fucking worst, and they treat her like she's Mary.
Yeah, and
they're praying to her on some altar of like politics. It's insane.
Yeah, it's the other guy's altar.
Yeah, I mean, like,
the guy down there.
You can say that Donald Trump is like all in his supporters are cult. Like, I feel like still like the Democratic Party, like the people that follow them are just like.
It's disturbing how much emotional investment they have in their political party. It's disturbing. I mean, I love being a Republican because,
and we do. We
have but
we want people to win, but at the same time, like, so bad.
I don't live and die or cry at it. All right. Update on the Mass governor's race. I believe, rumor has it, Governor Chris Sununu is throwing a fundraiser for Chris Doty.
Is that true?
I hear that rumor. Which that will be a big look. This is one thing about like the people in Massachusetts, Republicans in Massachusetts need to realize, like, the ship has sailed. Okay, it's gonna be DeSantis. Like, don't hang on to Trump. I know Jeff Deal is like been endorsed by Trump after he said the election was fixed and all this crap. Like, let it go. Let it go. It's getting real. You need the person who's going to be best suited to beat Maura Healey, and it's not Jeff Deal. Okay. I
got my first piece of campaign literature from Jeff Deal the other day. First piece.
He doesn't have a lot of money. He doesn't have a lot of money.
No. One piece of like I get stuff from Chris Doty all the time.
He has a lot of money. That's how this works.
Yeah.
That's how this
And
works.
he's
But
been getting his ass off. Oh my God,
yeah,
Jeff. Like
but no, yeah, that's a good point too. He has been working his ass off, but no Republicans in the state, elected Republicans, out of the maybe 40 or 50-ish we have here in Massachusetts, the mayors, the state reps, the state senators, like maybe 1, 2 are supporting Jeff Deal. The entirety of the rest of them, either maybe they're not outright supporting Chris Doty, but they're definitely not supporting Jeff Deal. And Chris Sununu apparently is going to be doing a fundraiser for Chris Doty, which he should. Look, because he's got to have a decent working relationship with his neighbor to the south, Governor Sununu. And it ain't going to happen with Maura Healey. She's going to want to. She's not going to govern well. She's going to pick fights. And she's going to pick. Yeah, she's going to pick fights with pick fights with Ron DeSantis. She's going to pick fights with Chris Sununu. She's just going to do that because, that's
girl boss.
Yeah, that's it.
Girl boss. She's such a girl boss. Oh my God, girl boss. I'm sorry. That trope is so fucking annoying.
How quickly does it get old for you that when Democrats are like, well, the first fill in the category is elected or appointed or confirmed, or does that, I yawn at that now. It has to have lost its allure and lost its luster for Democrats as well. Do you think?
Well, I feel like I think they've doubled down on it. I mean, like,
well, it's all they have.
It's right. I think they've doubled down on it. Like, I think Dems on the inside, like if you were a Dem consultant, and you want to reach out to me, my DMs are open. As long as you don't bitch me out. A few of you do. They're raising the 5-level alarm because Hispanics are leaving the Democratic Party in droves. There was a piece that came out from CNN that says voters of color are in general just leaving the Democratic Party. If a small sliver of like African Americans leave the Democratic Party, that's going to be
a lifetime work in progress, right? Getting the black vote to vote Republican. But Trump moved that needle quite a bit, and the needle will continue to move as information and media changes and all of that stuff. And we will eventually, it won't be as much on racial and demographic lines as the Democrats would like it to be. Like, you look at like the white vote, right? It's 50-50, I guess. Or around the margins, depending on where you live, of white people voting Democrat or white people voting Republican. It's gonna be that. It's gonna be that way for every category of people going forward.
So I do have to say, there was a liberal author in the early 2000s that came out with this. We've talked about the Great Replacement theory and how it's racist and all this other stuff. There's a kind of a right-wing version of it, and there's also a left-wing version of it. The guy who wrote about it on the left-wing version, his name's Roy, Tyexa. I butchered that name. I'm so sorry. I did read part of his book on the merging Democratic majority. And I recently read a piece about him that's like I'm left-wing and the left scares me. And so, I think that feeling is happening for a lot of people who are even center left. And so, it's going to be an interesting few years. I mean, and the main concept of his piece was the Democratic Party has decided to put identity at the forefront of their entire strategy when it should be about class. And I actually agree with his premise there.
Teixeira. I'm gonna go.
Okay. Again,
I'm gonna go with Teixeira.
Teixeira. I butchered that name. I'm so sorry. But again, I agree with his premise there. Like, I think that a lot of people are looking at the Democrats and not seeing much promise other than empty words. And so they're looking to the Republicans because the Republicans get things done.
I'm going to wrap up with one thing we tweeted about a little while ago. There was a professor who was invited on to a Senate panel. I forget who it was. And Ayanna Pressley quote tweets the woman who had like multiple nose rings and was going back and forth with Josh Hawley, and says that such and such just gave a master class on how to own Republicans during a confirmation hearing.
Oh, the clip last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tweeted this, and you guys are like, and Megan McArdle wrote a piece in the Washington Post about this the next day. Like, if you guys think you won that exchange, you are in la la land. Okay.
And Holly is pretty. So the thing is, like, if we're center right, Jeff, we're center right. Holly's pretty on the right. Okay. He's probably
I'm not
closer
center
to,
right. I'm right. You can be center
okay.
right.
Well, he yeah, like, I believe that gay marriage is like a concept. I actually agree with Andrew Sullivan on the concept of gay marriage, like, completely, that we should have it. It's a conservative institution, but so, like, maybe that makes me center right. But anyway,
makes you young,
right? Or maybe, I don't know. I've always been, yeah. Anyway, so Josh Hawley is pretty national populist, right? And so, or he leans towards that, and that exchange made him look normal.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that he asked normal questions that any person who is not extremely online or super into liberal politics or liberal lingo or on TikTok or whatever, he asked basic questions, and this woman was just like, it was insane.
Let me find this if I can. Let's see here. Sorry. Do. Oh, wait. I'm so sorry. Sorry, folks. Sorry. I'm going. Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, so I mean, I remember, watching it. I actually watched the extended form. It's even worse.
All right, I can't find it. Oh well. All right, that's enough for this. You've seen the clip. There's been articles written about it, but we're in such good shape. I love it. Roe v. Wade being overturned is not going to save the Democratic Party. It's not. If times were good economically, if things were going swimmingly, maybe I'd be concerned. But the consultant class is real worried about this. Don't be. They need to get out and experience the pain.
We'd be seeing changing in pollings on the generic ballot if that were the case.
Yeah, and you're not.
The only thing that they have to worry about is fringe legislation coming down the hole in state legislatures. It's not happening, as we know of. So yeah.
All right, feel better, Kaitlin.
I know I have a summer cold, guys, and it's not COVID. It's like probably a mixture of allergies because it's so dry outside.
Let me tell you something. Everybody's had COVID like 9 times so far. It's done. Like, it's done. I saw a woman who I follow online. Oh God, she got her baby vaccinated, and it was like the second shot. I was like, kids don't get this bad. What are you doing? Don't do that.
The point is that you want like those minor illnesses. Kids are supposed to get sick.
Yeah, and they put it on like it's just when you put it.
Like measles, your child probably should not get measles, but COVID is not.
But this, I look at it, it's like, okay, so I go this: if you're gonna give your kid the shot because you're like, oh, you want to be a good person, but then you take that selfie with yourself in a mask and you put it online for the world to see. Is it
with your child?
Is it really about protecting your kid at that point, or is it really about showing all those conservatives and virtue signaling and using your kid to do that? I don't know. That's fucked. Anyway. All right.
Strange and weird.
Yeah. There's people wearing masks at the beach. There's people. I walked down the street the other day. I felt so bad. I watched this early teenage kid walking down the street outside middle of summer, had a mask on.
I went to Walgreens yesterday and I walked in and I saw all the employees wearing masks. And then I saw people in the store wearing masks. And I was like, what is this? And I mean, I think it's probably because of where we live, but like, yeah.
There's people with mental problems. All right. All right, we're going to let you go. Go over to the Patreon, patreon.com/RINOpod. The new Patreon we just recorded will be up soon. Real brass tacks things we can do to move the ball forward, both 2022 and 2024. All right, have a great night, everybody, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.